Um, so welcome everybody. I am so happy to have you here. Welcome to my office, Gremlin. I'm happy to have you here. And one of my other people on my team, Darlene, also happy to have you here. I'm surprised that Meg didn't change her name to Office Gremlin. So um, we're going to be talking today about social media. So I'm going to go ahead and share slides so I stay on track. And then we're going to go from here. And I will be able to see your chat questions. So please do enter questions as you're doing this. I hope that this will help some with helping you get more reach on your social media. If you can mute yourself, that would be helpful, just so we don't have too much background noise here in the recording. We are going to send out a recording when we are done, so that you can watch it. Over under that anybody actually watches it is pretty low, but sometimes we get some people who do watch it. We'll put it up on YouTube and you can watch. So what is killing your social media reach is today's topic. We're going to talk about 3 things that are killing your reach. I'm going to tell you a little bit about who I am. We're going to talk a little bit about social media basics, and we're talking about 3 things that are killing your reach. And we're going to talk about how to overcome that. And then we're going to do a Q&A, and then I invite you to book a call with me, just to chat, just to get to know me. It's not a sales call, it's a get to know me call. I don't believe in hardcore sales, and that's not how I run my business. I actually invite people to become clients when it is appropriate, but not before. Who am I? I'm Haley Gray. I am the founder of the 75,000 Strong Women's Entrepreneur Network. It is a Facebook group that I have grown organically, which means without the use of paid advertisements. I have had that group for over 8 years at this point. I own Intuitive Biz Solutions, and I manage a lot of accounts. I am an algorithm geek, and I'm a software engineer with an MBA from Duke, with a concentration in entrepreneurship and innovation. So you can say I am double extra geeky inclined. I love doing social media. I love playing with social media. I love working with the algorithms. I especially love holistic marketing and seeing how websites and yeah, there is not a great presentation mode for me to actually be able to see anything else. You can probably see I have 5,000 open tabs, and that's okay. But the reality here is that for social media, it has to work in your ecosystem as part of what you're doing, and it is not completely standalone. I wish any particular aspect of marketing were completely standalone, and the reality is that it's not. It just isn't. And the more you understand that it is an entire ecosystem that we're dealing with, the better you're going to do with your marketing. And today we are only focusing on social media, and we're going to be talking about a very particular aspect of social media. So we're going to talk about some social media basics. Oh, thank you, Kat. So if you think about social media, people come on to social media to be social, not necessarily to be sold to. And this is a really important concept, which causes people a great deal of grief. Whether we're talking about LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, X, TikTok, any platform, people generally come on to social media to be social, not necessarily to be actively sold to. That is tricky when you're running a business. Because here's the thing, every single social media platform, with maybe the exception of Pinterest, and even Pinterest is a little funny, throttles promotion. When I say it throttles promotion, what I mean is if you put a link to an outside platform, if you have a call to action in your post, if you are trying to get somebody to do something, most promotion is throttled. So as soon as you promote, raise your hand if you've noticed that as soon as you promote, you have noticed that your post goes absolutely nowhere. If you're asking for a call to action, your post got nowhere. And that is more typical than not, and that has become the norm on every single platform pretty much. The other thing is that you need, how do you know it didn't go anywhere? Because the reach on the post will go, you know, you can get a 10 million post reach and you can get 3 for your post reach. That's how you know you got throttled. I have had posts where I was testing particular techniques. I decided to test the, if I post the link in the first comment thing, and I'm in creator mode on Facebook, and I did it on Facebook, and I said, okay, so how much reach am I getting on this post? And I got a very, very low post reach of about 1. My typical posts get anywhere between 600 to 60,000, and then some of my posts will go up to the millions. So that is how I know that the post got throttled, because the reach on the post is virtually nil. The other thing that might be killing your reach is your audience. And we'll talk about why here in a minute. But understanding what's going on psychologically with your audience and physiologically and in their environment is going to be critical to understanding why your social media may be getting you reach or why it is not getting reach. So understand that there is a huge psychological and physiological component to social media, and human behavior factors in this tremendously. Okay. So the next thing we're going to talk about is being social. One of the biggest mistakes people make is that they don't deliberately engage or incite a reaction in their audience. Engage, ask questions, start conversations, comment back on the answers that you get, you know, do social things. The other thing here that I see as a mistake that a lot of people make is that they are afraid of upsetting their audience. Now, depending on your product or your service, you know, you don't really deal with any controversial topics. However, if you do deal with controversial topics in your business, I strongly encourage you to talk about those topics and the things that you feel most strongly about and why you feel strongly about those things. One of the things for me that I deal with on a regular basis, I don't tell you that I am the absolute best person out there. I will tell you that A, I care, and B, I am generally competent at what I do. A lot of my business has come No joke, because we are picking up pieces of messes that other people have left us. I swore when I left EMC as a developer in 2013 that I would never write another line of code, because I've been a software engineer for decades. The reality was I was doing social media management for people because I really enjoy social media, and I had started to blow up my social media on Facebook and on LinkedIn. But what kept happening was it's really hard to sell stuff if you don't have a website and you don't have a funnel and you don't have anywhere to send people to. And people kept coming to me saying, hey, I know you don't really do websites, but can you fix this mess over here? The reality is I've been writing HTML and Java since 1994. I've been writing Java since it was in beta. And I've been writing HTML since the internet became a thing, since the internet became Mosaic. So people kept coming to me to fix the messy stuff. So one of the things that I feel very, very strongly about is the fact that if I take money for a website, I finish the stupid thing. Even if I lose money, I finish it. I do the best I can for my clients. Now, there are cases where I can't achieve a middle ground with somebody because we cannot develop a design that they love or something like that. There are, every once in a blue moon, we have somebody that we can't satisfy. However, 99% of our clients, we do manage to get the thing across the finish line, developed to their standards, complete, and delivered. And it is functional and it is designed to convert. One of the things I feel very strongly about is how important it is to take good care of your clients. So I talk about that a lot. Now, I also talk about my everlasting love of GoDaddy, which seems to entertain people. So be real, be a real person, do real person things in your marketing. Share stories, be a human being, not just a human doing, and practice the being rather than the seeming online. And I can promise you that your social media will do so much better. Practice the being rather than just the seeming, and fully stepping into the social media and the being social and being who you really are. Yes, I know that I adore GoDaddy.
Recorded.
If I can't promote myself. Let's be really clear. If you have a clear call to action, book a call with me. Sign up today. Do this, do that, do the other. Those things are probably getting throttled. If you have a busy graphic with a lot of content on it, that you're promoting a summit or yourself speaking or a thing, it probably gets throttled because there's a lot of stuff on it. Facebook actually has the capability with the AI to tell that there's a lot of stuff on it and will throttle the post. And there's a reason for it. Busy graphics get scrolled on by. Things with links get scrolled on by and they get throttled. And please don't think that you can get away with posting the link in the first comment. I don't know why that is still going around as a thing to do. Do not do that. Don't comment back to yourself in the first comment. I can promise you, Scout's honor, and I'm triggering Meg, that your post will get throttled. If you put a comment with a link or just a comment in the first comment of your post, every single social media platform out there will throttle it to death. I have never seen a post of mine get a reach of less than 10. Boy, I succeeded. I didn't even think that was possible. I was like, I know it's bad, but let me try it. So, Kat, if you do it by posting the link in the post itself, and if you want to directly promote, you're going to have to do ads. What if you put the link in the meme or photo? That also gets throttled because the AI can detect the layers in the image or the graphic, and it knows what's in it, and it throttles it. Wild graphics, to a point, it depends. So we'll talk about that in a minute, Heather. Phone numbers and emails also get throttled. If you want to directly promote on a post, I'm not saying never do it. I'm just saying just be aware that your reach will be minimal. Direct promotion with a link to buy something or a phone number or whatever, whether it's on the graphic or in the copy, is generally going to get way less reach. If you want reach on those, you need ads. You need to do paid ads, and I am not talking about boosting. Please don't boost. Back away from the boost button. Ixnay to boost button base, okay? No boost button. There are a million ad ways on Facebook to set up a simple ad with a call to action targeting the correct audience. Don't boost. You're trying to get signups for something. You can do a semi-viral post. Hey, I've got this. Who wants it? Question mark. Something simple. Test and see if your messaging works. Facebook keeps changing and keeps throttling things. Option number 2 is you DM people. If you don't want to do paid ads, if you want to just be able to set it and forget it, this is where paid ads go. So thinking that you're going to get around the system, not so much. Okay, Heather, to your point about crazy posts. Yes, you can DM people who like your post, sure. And just say, hey, just reaching out. Thank you for liking the post. And if they start the conversation, totally. Thank you for the support. Sometimes people are just trying to support you. If you say, hey, thank you for the support for people who engage with your posts, that actually helps you build a really great rapport and really great relationship with them, especially if you're doing it from a personal profile. So like on LinkedIn or Facebook, if you're trying to get relationships with people, starting conversations like, hey, thank you for reacting to my post. Hey, thank you for sharing that. Thank you for commenting. People really appreciate being thanked for doing things. So things you should know about your audience, and this may be killing your reach. Depending on the social media platform, they're in their mid-age, right? They're not spring chickens. and they're doing a bunch of things at once. The effect on the brain of multitasking, cool stat that I read a few years ago, is very similar to being high on marijuana. So imagine that all of your audience is high on marijuana and they're scrolling on their phone. And their phone may or may not be the latest, and it's a teeny tiny little device. And all of your stuff is on the phone, and they are scrolling and they're doing 14 things at once. Design your graphics accordingly. One of the biggest mistakes I see people make that kills your reach is your graphics don't stand out on a mobile device. Scripty fonts? Nope. I can't tell you how many people in the current generation, and I'm talking my kids, can't read cursive to start with. They don't know how, they didn't learn it. Some of them know, some of them don't. Assume a significant percentage of your audience cannot read cursive. Problem number 2, they're on their phone. It's hard to see scripty fonts when they're this big on a phone. So you know what people do? Human behavior. They scroll right on by if they can't see it. You know what that does to your reach on your post? If somebody scrolls on by and they don't react to it, it kills your reach. Delicate colors. Nope. Very pale pinks and whites together with a scripty font. Very chic, very elegant. Nobody can read it. They scroll right on by. No engagement. Heather, your hot pink and hot green and orange mess might actually stand a snowball's chance of getting attention. You need high contrast with your posts. Black on white, white on black. Super bright, attracting colors. And please don't go putting text across a background that doesn't have high contrast. White on pale orange. Exactly. White on orange is probably going to be hard to see. Remember, a certain percentage of your audience is not going to have the best eyesight. They may have an astigmatism. They may be in low lighting, right? If you're on your phone, are you in your bedroom or in the bathroom trying to scroll on your phone, or sitting in your car somewhere where you don't have good light? Oh, it's in magazines a lot. Yeah, no, and it's a horrible idea. Don't do that on your social media posts. High contrast. And many different monitors look especially different. Yes, and phones look especially different because 99% of your audience on social media is going to be on mobile. And you know what? People think they can work on these things and be productive. And the other things that happen is people are afraid of pissing off their audience and annoying them. So they only post once a week. Your audience is probably never going to see that post that you put in there once a week because there's not enough for you to feed the algorithm. You've got to post a minimum of once a day, y'all. Generally, at least once a day. More than that is even better. If you have a page that has at least 1,000 likes on it or more, you actually want to be posting 2, 3, 4 times a day because you increase your chances of success. Heather, I actually always recommend a minimum of 2 platforms to start with. And it's become even more important lately because accounts are getting shut down for random reasons. We actually had an incident yesterday where one of our main pages, the Women's Entrepreneur Network page, not the group, got shut for violating some term and condition that we have no idea, because we don't post anything controversial on that page. And we had to appeal it. So we could have just as easily lost that page and those 30,000 followers. And that's just in the last 24 hours. When I say I needed a stiff drink yesterday, we needed a stiff drink. And oh, by the way, Meg was the one that discovered it. So you need at least 2 pages, 2 accounts, because every once in a while something happens. And nowadays what's happening too is that you're having to submit ID to verify your identity. And that is just a thing because of the level of scamming going on with platforms and everything else. Oh, and I'm going to throw something else out there that's not exactly this webinar, but it seems like appropriate to mention. If you get a message from Meta in your messages on your Facebook business page, or you get messages on a LinkedIn page saying that you have violated policies, blah, 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 and click this link, don't click the link. You will get an email on your page or you will get a pop-up. You do not get a message in your messages. It is rampant. We are seeing like 20 of these a day on every account. Darlene can nod her head because she is monitoring all of the accounts we manage, and it is eye-watering. So what do? You build a plan. Build out a marketing plan. Build out a content strategy. Failure to plan on social media and marketing and in business is a literal plan to fail. If you don't know what you're promoting and you don't know when you're promoting it and you don't have any kind of schedule, it's going to be hard. Okay, it's going to be almost impossible. Flying by the seat of your pants, doing things last minute. I know it's super, 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 super common. Don't do it. I see a lot of people who literally start to cannibalize their online businesses and their businesses by flying by the seat of their pants all the time. Not that you can't occasionally throw something out there for fun. However, if you do not have an overarching framework for your marketing and your social media planning, it's going to be hard to be consistent. And one of the things that we mentioned is you've got to be consistent. It's hard to get daily posts in if you don't have any kind of thought on what you're doing for when you're doing it and any kind of plan of what you're offering and when you're offering it. It's almost impossible. You're not going to just suddenly wake up on Tuesday morning and go, oh, I think I'll post this today. I'll come up with a great idea. It's Wednesday morning. I'm feeling so creative. You might manage to make it to Wednesday, but I can guarantee by the time you make it to Friday, you're not going to be with it. Content, strategy, and scheduling is important. Stick with your marketing long enough for it to succeed. One of the biggest problems I see, one of the biggest sabotages, I see people posting in Women's Entrepreneur Network regularly who say, I'm having trouble getting clients. Well, how often are you posting? Anything. Oh, I last posted in June, but everybody knows what I'm selling. Dude, September. Okay. Consistency, frequency. Tell people what you do, share stories. One of the cool things about the promotion stuff on most platforms is that sharing stories and case studies, as long as there's no link, is probably not going to be considered promotional. Testimonials are probably not going to be considered promotional by the platform. So there is lots of content that you can share that is not strictly promotional, but is very, very promotional. Get smart with your promotions. Case studies are super important. Case histories, blogs, right? Share snippets out of your blogs. And only a small percentage of your content is going to be super successful. Here's the thing. The bigger the volume of your content on your accounts, the bigger the number of posts that's going to be successful. 15% of 100 posts is a very different number than 15% of 10 posts, right? So if you think only 15% of my posts are going to be successful, well, if I only posted 10 times in a month, only one of those posts or 1.5 of those posts, maybe 2, are actually going to be successful, no matter how hard you think about it. However, if you test things, you're probably going to get more success. Keep throwing things at it until you get success, and then do more. Now, here's the other thing. If you do paid ads, one of the biggest mistakes I see a lot of people make with ads, and I even see agencies making this mistake, is that ads are not a set it and forget it strategy. They actually expire after a very short amount of time. You might get a few weeks on it, and then you need the next ad, and the next copy, and the next creative. So just be aware that what worked last month may not work this month. And I see a lot of strategies that are being employed on marketing, in marketing arenas, that are so 2019. And I will tell you that what worked in 2019 does not work in 2023. What worked in 2022 doesn't work in 2023. And because of algorithm changes, what worked 3 months ago does not work now. And I can guarantee you that what is working today and getting you reach today may not be exactly what gets you reach in 3 months. So you need to keep trying new things. However, you do need a framework from which to operate within. Y'all with me? Cool. So it's not necessarily hard, but you need to remember the basics. People are here to be social, and they are distracted. They're on their phones, and they can't see worth crap, along with the fact that the platform might very well be throttling your reach. Okay, so here's the fun part. What questions do y'all have? Y'all can type them in, and I'll be happy to answer them for you. Any questions? So I know that this is like a ton of content. So a lot of the things that people have been doing for graphics, you know, the white on pale orange or something, don't do that to yourself. So I recommend planning marketing on a calendar or on a spreadsheet with dates, and like, here's what I'm promoting, here's when I'm promoting it, here's when this workshop is, here's when this is, and then back into it. So I use a spreadsheet. I use Excel. We use Excel a lot for content creation. We use ChatGPT, AnyWord. There's some different tools that we use for content scrubbing and creation that are different things. So question here, and I apologize for the dogs. We have coonhounds. Hold on. We're going to take evasive action, and hopefully this will mute the dogs. If y'all can hear me, let me know. Cool. Yes, we have a coonhound, and my husband just walked in the door. So anytime somebody walks in the house, we are greeted by a chorus. What is a reasonable ad spend to test in a market? It depends. It can be a few $100s to a few $1,000s, and it just depends. One of the things about ad spend is this. You want to test things with small dollar amounts to start with, because you need to test each step in your process to make sure that it is actually converting. So you want to see, are people engaging with the post? Are people clicking on the ad? Are they doing this? What happens when they land on this page? Are they buying? And you have to measure every single step and go from there. It can take anywhere between a few $100 to a few $1,000s. However, we start with $3 to $5 a day for some things, and other things we may be starting with $20, $25 a day. So it can get fairly costly. One of my recommendations with ads is to not do ads unless you have 3 to 6 months of ad money to kind of throw at the wall, because it can take a good solid 3 to 6 months for somebody to figure out your ads and to be able to get them correct. Even for you to do it, it can take 3 to 6 months, and it can take some time for people to get to know you. Other than throwing spaghetti at the wall, how do I figure out what works this week or this month? I measure every single thing I do, Dr. Jill. So I look at my results incessantly. I look at numbers incessantly and obsessively. So tracking numbers is going to be one of the most important things, and seeing what catches and what doesn't. That was part of how I figured out that the scripty fonts and the pale colors and those types of things were not converting at all. I've tried different graphics with different formats to see what was working and what wasn't. And I just literally obsessively testing every single thing. Other than throwing spaghetti at the wall, I would say, honestly, the more emotion that is behind what you're doing, or the more evocative whatever you're doing is, or the funner it is, the more of a response that you are deliberately inciting, the better your stuff can be. It is absolutely time consuming. Absolutely. Yeah. Do I have a cheat sheet of do's and don'ts? It's in my viral social media course, honestly, Kat. The do's are: make things highly visible. Don't openly promote. If you are openly promoting, run it as an ad. And make sure you can actually see the graphic on mobile. That would be really. Do I use a spreadsheet to track how well it does? Yes. And I have a program called Agency Analytics that I pay for that tracks our results as well. And we can see what the top performing posts are and what the bottom performing posts are. And one of the things is that we are willing to have posts that don't do well and throw things out there and see. That course is $9.97. It's the viralsocialmethod.com. Viralsocialmethod.com is the link if you want to check it out. But it really walks you through like all the steps that we're using, including the tech and the pieces. So we talk about what to post, what not to post, how often to post, all of those things. Um, it's important to know the more you post, the more likely you are to be seen. And there will be times where people hide your posts or don't want to see your stuff. You're going to run into haters. You're going to run into people who are wildly offended. And I know one of our attendees here has slippers. I don't know how, I don't know where, but you're going to have somebody who hates slippers. I can guarantee that you're going to run across somebody who thinks that house slippers are the stupidest thing ever. And the more you're following and your numbers grow, the more you're going to run across people who are just bizarre and weird and all the things. Just know that that is part of dealing with it. People be hating. People gonna be hating your slippers. And you know, there's gonna be a million people who love you, and then there's gonna be that one person who's like, well, I didn't like that shade of pink on my slippers. I was offended. I had one of my book reviews one time, no joke, for one of my books. Somebody posted and said, you know, I got all these 4 and 5 star reviews, and then I got a 1-star review, and I actually threw a party because I got the book hurt my feelings, so I didn't finish reading it. And you know, I don't recommend anybody read this book. So I was like, I threw a party and I got about 50 more reviews for the book. It was pretty funny, but just be aware that people are kind of weird online. What other questions do you have? Contact me, book a call with me. I'll post a link here. This is not like a sales call. This is just a chat with me call. So here's what we've covered today. And y'all can ask me any more questions you've got. We did an intro. Who is Haley? Some social media basics, some things that are killing your reach, how we overcome it, Q&A, and let's talk. So I will stop sharing and I will allow y'all to unmute yourself and ask any questions that you might have, or you can type them into the chat if you prefer.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So when you're helping folks, who's developing like all the graphics and all of that kind of stuff? Are you mostly you know, what is the how do you perform your services, I guess is the question. Like what services do you provide?
So we have a couple of different ranges of services. We have some courses that you can take yourself. So that's the do it yourself option. I have a done with you option where I meet with people weekly and we go through all of their stuff and they can text me in between and ask me all of their questions. And we literally go through all their landing pages, their funnels, their website, their tech, up one side, down the other, fixing their SEO, all of those things. And then we have fully done for you prod services where we develop the graphics, we create the content, we work with you to get all of your stuff done. So it really depends on where you want to be. So, you know, we could even go so far as like editing your videos and blah, 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 blah. It just depends on what you need. Once we start getting into the done for you services, and that's why it's never really a true sales call with me. It's really a what do you need? What is your budget? How do we get you from here to there? And how do we do things in a way that makes sense for where your business is right now? Not necessarily what I want to do all the time. So,
and then I have a second question about LinkedIn. So with LinkedIn, I mean, I know Facebook has ads. LinkedIn, it seems like do you have any preference? Depends on where your audience is, I guess.
It depends on your business, honestly. LinkedIn ads are phenomenal for recruiting. LinkedIn ads can be phenomenal for business services if you are at a higher ticket. However, the cost per conversion on LinkedIn can be drastically higher than Facebook or Google. Right now, our cheapest conversions that we are seeing, even with retargeting ads, or YouTube ads, or any of the platforms we're on, the cheapest conversions are coming out of Meta. And that has consistently been the case. Sometimes we get good conversions out of like partner TV networks and that kind of thing, low cost per view that way. But if you start looking at things like AdRoll and display ads right now, there's a very high rate of click fraud on those. So I'm tending to avoid those and turn those off with most of my clients because the rate of click fraud is way too high and it's just running through a lot of clients' dollars. That was a very technical answer for you. So yeah, it depends on your business as to what makes the most sense. Pinterest is also a really good platform for advertising, depending on what you're doing. And if you're trying to drive like a lot of traffic to a website to monetize it or to monetize a platform, Pinterest is actually your best, cheapest option for monetization in a lot of ways. TikTok, Pinterest, that's a whole can of worms. Click fraud. So click fraud happens two ways. One is that you have a competitor and they hire somebody who has bots who go and click your ads to exhaust your ad spend. The other that is happening a lot on display networks is you have websites like some of mine that are monetized through ads. And we have ads running on the site, and part of the terms and conditions with Google and these third-party advertising platforms is that you're not allowed to click on your own ads. A lot of them will pay per completed form fill. So like say somebody clicks on my Leadership Girl site and they go to one of the ads and somebody fills out a form from one of the ads. Well, then that's considered a completed thing. And I then get paid, 50 cents or 5 cents or whatever for that completed form. The problem is that there are bots that are designed to go out and go fill out, to go to the website, click the form, fill out the entire form and hit submit, or people who will sit in third world countries and do it manually. Click fraud. And the problem with that is if you are, say, a small business owner sitting in Raleigh, North Carolina, I have one of these right now that we are actively dealing with that is advertising to the local Raleigh area. And her ads weren't targeted super well, but she came to me with these ads, and what we were seeing was this like massive click fraud rate. Very few of them were actually in North Carolina because the ads were poorly targeted. And the ads were being clicked on, the forms were being filled out because the ads themselves were appearing on third-party partner networks.
So when you post an ad on Facebook, does the ad expire based on the number of clicks it gets?
It gets shown based on the number of clicks it's getting. You can expand your reach on Facebook to be on third-party advertiser sites, but most of the third-party advertiser sites are through AdRoll or through Google.
But obviously you want to have real people clicking on your ad, not bots. But if a bot is doing stuff as well, how does that keep the ad from being shown to your right audience?
Because it exhausts your ad budget.
Okay, that was my question, is how does it exhaust your ad budget if it's not based
because every time you have a click, you pay for that click. Every time you have a form fill, you pay for that form fill.
All right.
And so the client is paying for a lead ad, which is typically $23 to $25 per lead. And every time a form is filled out, they pay that $23 to $25 to Google. A percentage of that dollar amount goes back to the advertiser wherever the platform was showing the ad, because it's not, Google is not just like in Google searches, it's also like the ads on CNN or Salon or CNN or all these other third-party sites.
I
So
thought that you had said that on your site, when people, like you have things, and if people click on them, you're getting paid a little bit for each one.
I do.
So,
So I have a Leadership
that's
Girl
what I'm
website,
thinking. Right.
and I have Google AdSense connected to it. So if you go to leadershipgirl.com and you click on one of those ads and you fill out the form on the other side,
hmm
if you just click it, I get a certain amount. If you fill out the form on the other side, I get a certain amount.
Right.
Make sense? Well, the advertiser who is placing those ads through Google on my website is having to pay for all of that to happen and all of the shenanigans. So I get a small percentage of that ad revenue that is being generated for being able to place that ad on my website. Does that make sense?
I'm still confused. So you're getting, in this scenario, you're getting paid when people click.
Mhm.
But if you're, because the ad is
That's
placed on your page.
on my website.
Okay, and for the person.
Because it's a monetized site.
The person who places the ad pays per click. And when the ad is on your website, you get paid per click.
Right. I get paid a percentage of the amount that's being generated. Correct. So if you understand the end-to-end mechanics of how ads and display ads and whatnot are working, you can see where there would be incentive for a website owner such as myself to have a bot army, or all of my friends go click on all of the ads on my website. Because if I had 10 or 15 friends do that a month, I suddenly make a lot more money that go in and they fill out the forms. So I am incented for people to go to my website and click on the ads. That's why it's against the terms and conditions for me to go click on my own ads. You are muted.
I must have touched something on the computer when I went to type. So it's not, clicking on the ads that are on your page is against the terms and conditions. There's somebody else's ads that need to be on your page. Got it.
Right. So if you understand the whole ad ecosystem, I think it helps. Right now, because of click fraud, I don't recommend my clients to put anything on a display ad, which is going onto a third-party website. Now, there's a lot of software companies and other companies that are doing it, and they have fairly sophisticated fraud detection systems, but the little fry mostly doesn't. And there's a lot of software, which is a lot of dollars, that then has to be, applied to the website and applied to the ads and applied to a lot of things, which is really frustrating, because if you're a small business owner and you have $500 a month for ads, and suddenly you're having to pay for $1,200, $1,500, $2,000 a month in software to validate those ads, that's really an ugly scenario.
Do you have an opinion? I haven't done any advertising. Everything I've done has been completely organic. When one is ready to do, like, how do you know that it's time to do advertising, and what percentage of your gross revenue is an appropriate amount to spend on it?
So the answer, like most things in business, is it depends.
So if you are at a point where you have a good amount of money coming in and your organic is working well, and you are in the point where you are getting ready to amp up your marketing. So you're getting ready to roll out, say, group programs, and you're going from one-to-one to group. So you suddenly have a lot more slots, right? So your organic marketing is working well. Your message is honed. You know what you're doing. And this changes a lot for product. So service versus product, there's some different things, okay? But if you are doing a service, then you start advertising and doing launches and overall ongoing marketing using paid. Once you have like a full-ish roster of one-to-one clients, and you're like, and my organic reach is not in and of itself going to allow me to fill a full roster of paid group, then I might want to start looking at ads. But if your organic marketing in and of itself is generating enough leads that you are able to fill that group program, then you may not want to do ads. So you have to kind of weigh the discussion. And that's one of the conversations I have with people when we start talking about, does it make sense to do ads? So depending on the business, depending on your profit margins, just depending on all the things, your answer may vary at different points. For some people, they may be spending 30% of revenue. For some people, it may be 2%. It depends on your profit margins. It depends on the business. It depends on your business objectives. It depends on your capacity for leads. And those numbers are going to vary. Like if you are running an e-commerce site and you are trying to get bulk sales, well, your marketing is going to look very different from somebody who is selling a $3,000 coaching program. Thank you. So cool. Very cool. Thank you. So I hope that this helps just a bit with the marketing stuff. I'd love to book a call and chat through when it makes sense to like amp those things up, but it's a very personal discussion. And it depends on what established funnels you already have. Like I've never done paid ads since like 2015. I did some in the very beginning of my business. They worked horrifically. And I backed off of that and I built an entirely organic funnel. It's not clear to me that my business would survive me trying to really go into doing like whole hog marketing for paid funnels, paid ads. It's just you have to structure the business in a way that you have the capacity for the leads. And if what you're doing is generating, it depends. But there has to be a type of funnel